How did the U.S. Navy end up firing on an Iranian container ship in the Gulf of Oman? It all began with a tense standoff that lasted for hours. The Navy repeatedly issued warnings, ordering the ship to stop, but the crew continued to ignore them. In the end, the situation escalated when multiple rounds were fired into the massive vessel, instantly crippling its engine system and starting a fire inside the engine room. But how can a modern naval gun fire 3 explosive rounds in just a few seconds? The secret is below deck, an advanced automatic loading system backed by an almost endless ammunition supply. This mechanism loads the rounds into the gun, fires, then immediately ejects the spent casing, preparing for the next shot. That leads to a bigger question. How can military forces take control of a massive container ship? The Navy brings in the Marines. From amphibious ships, they are deployed by helicopter, fast rope down onto the deck, then gradually secure and clear the entire vessel. It is Sunday, April 19th, 2026. In international waters, a major escalation is about to unfold. A direct maritime confrontation between the United States and Iran. The tip of the spear for the operation is the USS Bruins, a heavily armed U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer. Backing it up is an elite boarding team from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. Their target is the Tuska, a Panamax-class container ship about 900 feet long, flying the Iranian flag, capable of carrying roughly 5,000 containers. This massive vessel is traveling from Zhuhai, China, straight toward Bandar Abbas, Iran. The interception takes place in the international waters of the Gulf of Oman, about 340 miles east of the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Behind it is a broader U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. As the Tuska is moving at about 17 knots toward the northern Arabian Sea, the USS Bruins closes in to intercept it. The U.S. Navy does not open fire immediately. Instead, U.S. Central Command carries out a calculated escalation strategy. For 6 to 10 hours, American forces repeatedly issue warnings, ordering the Tuska to cut its engines and turn around. But the crew stays on course toward Iran. When the ship continues to refuse orders, the USS Bruins shifts to precise disabling force. Over the radio, the Navy issues a final warning, telling the Tuska to evacuate the engine room because they are about to open fire to disable the vessel. A warning horn sounds. Then the 5-inch Mark 45 gun on the USS Bruins aims at the target and fires. At least 3 rounds slam directly into the Tuska's engine room area. The first shot, then the second, followed by the third. This precise strike destroys the machinery space, causing the ship's propulsion system to shut down immediately. The massive vessel is stopped in the middle of the sea, while the main hull remains intact to avoid the risk of sinking. Once the Tuska has lost mobility and is drifting on the water, the next phase begins. The amphibious assault ship USS AAA takes over the operation. Helicopters take off, carrying Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and move toward the non-compliant ship. They board, sweep the deck, secure key areas, then officially take control of the vessel, its crew, and the enormous cargo aboard. Night vision footage shows U.S. Marines seizing this Iranian container ship from the air. Deployed from the USS Tripoli by MH-60 Seahawk helicopters, the Navy's version of the Black Hawk, the special teams carry out a precise boarding operation. The lead helicopter holds a steady hover right above the containers, while Marines fast rope down into the darkness below. A second Seahawk circles overhead, providing armed overwatch to protect the boarding team as they secure the vessel. What makes the Mark 45 gun so special? This system is made up of several tightly coordinated components.
Tightly coordinated
At the lower level is the automated ammunition shuttle, Above it is the automated ammunition handling system, showing a high level of mechanical precision. Next is the 20-round loader drum, which plays a central role in maintaining the rate of fire.
This is the middle section of the Mark 45 gun. The
Surrounding
20-round
the
loader
upper
drum
section
rotates to align
is the
shells
gun
for firing.
shield,
The gun shield
helping
provides
protect
protection.
and stabilize
The
the
drum's
entire
rotation
system.
ensures rapid, reliable
The
operations.
loading mechanism works in sequence. Ammunition is moved to the lower hoist. The hoist lifts the round up to the 20-round loader. A tray holding both the projectile and the propellant turns 90 degrees, then pushes them into the gun barrel. When ready, the gun fires. Thanks to this coordination, the Mark 45 can fire about 10 to 16 rounds per minute. After each shot, the shell case ejector quickly throws the used casing out of the system. With its 127mm caliber, the round can travel about 24 kilometers, or nearly 14 miles, from the American destroyer to the target. But what if the military target is more than 50 miles away? In that case, beneath the deck are vertical launch tubes. Each launcher module is about 25 feet long, large enough that placing it beside a person gives a real sense of its size. When the hot launch system operates, the launch cell door opens, the missile ignites, and exhaust gases are directed upward through a separate vent. This design allows each missile to leave the launcher independently and safely. That is the first layer of defense. The next layer is a close-in weapon system, such as phalanx. At the very top is the Ku-band search radar. Beneath it is the tracking and fire control radar, followed by a 20mm Gatling gun that can fire up to 4,500 rounds per minute. All ammunition is fed from a drum and a linkless
Below
feed
the search
system.
radar is the tracking
When
and fire
phalanx
control
is
radar.
activated, the search radar
Descending
can detect
further,
an incoming
we see the
drone from
impressive
about
delivery
10
gathering
miles
radar
away.
with 1,500 rounds
The software
per minute.
continues tracking, confirms the threat, and then the fire control radar locks onto the target at about 5 miles, or closer depending on the optimal calculation. Once the target enters the kill zone, the gun fires continuously until a hard kill or soft kill is achieved, creating a dense wall of bullets meant to intercept drones, small boats, or aircraft approaching the ship. If that method is not enough against small targets, another close-in system can be deployed: CRAM. This system combines the radar and electro-optical sensors of phalanx with an 11-cell launcher loaded with
This is the
reloadable
CRAM
RAM
close-in
missiles.
weapon system, a key
As a
element
result,
in naval defense.
It becomes an
At the
automatic
top,
system that
phalanx
can
radar
detect
and
and
electro-optical
attack targets on
loaded
its
with
own
RAM missiles ready to
without
intercept
relying
threats.
entirely on outside data. Inside CRAM is the RIM-116 rolling airframe missile, equipped with an infrared seeker. This is a small, lightweight surface-to-air missile designed to intercept subsonic missiles, including variants based on the Soviet-era P-15 that Iran has modified. These missiles often fly extremely low over the sea to avoid radar. In that situation, CRAM can activate to intercept targets within a radius of about 6 miles, with a claimed hit rate of up to 90%. But how would the United States actually seize or stop a foreign-flagged oil tanker? And how would it enforce a blockade when a geopolitical chess match suddenly turns into a real military operation? In this scenario, the United States imposes a strict blockade on Iranian oil that China is said to have placed under its protection. The operation becomes the climax of a weeks-long standoff, rooted in Washington's new full blockade policy against Iranian exports. This time, the target is an oil tanker about 10 years old, identified by U.S. intelligence as part of the Shadow Fleet, a secret network of ships used by China and Iran to move sanctioned oil and evade international sanctions. Imagine an oil tanker being stopped by the U.S. Navy near the Strait of Hormuz. The captain refuses to stop, turns off the tracking transponder, and flees into the open ocean. The United States immediately deploys its forces, launching a grueling pursuit stretching more than 5,000 miles. If you want to upgrade your digital defense, Think about a military-grade VPN. Surfshark VPN can be seen as your first line of defense online. It scans for and detects threats, warning you about thousands of dangerous emails. On top of that, the service includes strong antivirus software to protect your devices from viruses, malware, ad trackers, bots, and third parties. With just one subscription, you can protect not only yourself, but also your friends, family, and even multiple devices at the same time. Visit surf.com/itel to get 4 extra months free, along with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what tactics and tricks would the tanker crew use? If this is an Iranian oil tanker, they may try to change the ship's legal identity while it is still underway. They would repaint the hull, rename the ship with a Chinese or Russian name, and raise the corresponding flag to make the seizure more complicated. As the vessel heads toward the strategic area between the Middle East and the Indian Ocean, the situation becomes even more tense when Chinese warships operate nearby, forming a defensive screen. This forces American commanders to act with extreme caution, because one mistake could spark an unintended naval war. Even though the underwater threat remains silently present, the United States still gives the green light for the seizure operation. Their strategy is bold. Neutralize the Chinese submarine not with torpedoes, but with overwhelming air superiority. Leading the surface pursuit is the USCG Monroe, a Legend-class Coast Guard cutter that has been tracking the Iran-China vessel for weeks through rough seas. But before the U.S. Navy can act, the sky has to be secured. U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft flood the area, dropping a network of sonobuoys to track every movement of the Chinese submarine. KC-135 Stratotanker refueling aircraft keep the surveillance force operating around the clock. The Air Force also joins the hunt with electronic warfare assets, aimed at stripping away and weakening the other side's communications. The P-8 essentially boxes in the submarine's operating space, sending a clear message that any aggressive move could lead to immediate destruction. Once the underwater threat is pinned down, the U.S. surface ship can finally close in on the target. Because the seas are too rough to deploy small boats, American forces choose an airborne assault.
Console clear. Cutting
Special
engines.
operations
Engines
teams
cut.
fast rope
Hoist
from
the
hovering
flag.
helicopters directly
Blockade
onto the
in
deck.
force. Outstanding work.
Within minutes, they secure the bridge, cut the engines, and raise the American flag. From that moment, the oil tanker is under their control, and the blockade is enforced.